The flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long. This is a quote from Lao Tzu, and I think it perfectly describes the rise and fall of AInvest, this AI-generated financial news site that I've talked a lot about on this show, and it might finally be coming to an end. It had a remarkable story. If you're interested in search engine optimization or digital marketing, the story of AInvest is so crazy. In only 2 months, it went from 275,000 visits a month from Google using entirely AI-generated financial news content. It went from that 275,000 in 2 months to 9.6 million. That is a dramatic increase, a crazy increase. And people were saying it couldn't last. And honestly, I was saying it's probably not going to last. And sure enough, it looks like it's finally coming to an end. So on this episode of The Edward Show, this is episode 803 of my daily digital marketing podcast, I'm going to talk about what allowed AInvest to grow so rapidly in the first place, whether or not you should be doing AI-generated content, mass amounts of AI-generated content, and if so, what's the right way to do it? So AInvest, I first discovered them during the June core algorithm update. Somebody said, all right, I think we know who the winner of this update is, and they had just started a spike up. I think they maybe were at like 3 times their 275,000 monthly organic traffic mark at that point. And it was interesting to see because they kept going up and up and up and up, eventually reaching 9.6 million clicks a month from Google, from organic Google search. And this was, again, a result of the June core algorithm update. And now we're in the tail end of Google's spam update, Google's August spam update. We're in the tail end of it. And they are a huge loser in terms of just clicks from this update. Now, making this much AI-generated content, it kind of fits within Google's scaled content abuse policy. Google really doesn't want this. Google doesn't want unchecked AI-generated content. It's bad for searchers. It's bad for their AI, which also is unchecked. It causes too many mistakes, and people don't trust that. If they wanted AI answers, they'd get it from AI overviews. They'd get it from AI mode. So Google really doesn't want this. In fact, they have their quality raters assign the lowest score possible to AI-generated content. And a lot of people think that the collapse of their traffic, the recent collapse of their traffic, is a manual penalty. It's a manual targeted penalty from Google. But, I would say that it's hard to tell because actually AInvest, they're still up. Before the June core algorithm update, they were at 275,000 clicks a month. Now they're still hovering around 1 million or 900,000 clicks a month. They're not at the 9.6 million clicks a month peak that they were, or even at around 5 million where they hovered for a while. They're around 900,000 to 1 million, which is still 4 times as much as they were getting before. That is still a win. And they've hovered around this 900,000, 1 million number for a couple of days now. So it's actually hard to say at the time of recording. It's hard to say whether or not this is a manual penalty. And it's hard to say how much further they will go down. You would expect them to go below the 275,000 clicks a month, especially since a lot of their traffic is coming from the top stories feature within Google. But that hasn't happened. Here's what they were doing really well to even allow them to see this in the first place, to get this boost from the June core algorithm update in the first place. And it's just such a crazy thing. And if you're thinking about doing mass amounts of AI-generated content, this is what to learn from their initial success. 1, they had an age domain. Their company, AInvest, has existed since at least 2021. 2, they also have a holistic view of marketing. A lot of SEOs, they don't do that. AInvest is active on all major social networks. They have 14,000 followers on Instagram. Almost all of their content on social media is AI generated, including their descriptions for YouTube videos. The content isn't great, but because it's AI generated, it allows them to post often, gets them some traffic. And as I've shared in the past, high frequency posting is really, really great for growth. But demonstrating a lot of activity on social media sends off a lot of EAT signals, especially authenticity signals. Speaking of this, they really look like a real company, not just like some churn and burn SEO play. They look like a real company because they are one. They're not just an SEO blog. They have many developed products. These products also get them backlinks. They have the expected legal pages, a contact page. Up until recently, they had their address and phone number in their footer, which is really good. They have a careers page. They hired a Fox News anchor, and this is what the Fox News anchor says on his LinkedIn, to add a human element to enhance credibility and improve AInvest LLM-driven content. He literally wrote that on his LinkedIn. So all of this, including the social media activity, just sends major trust and legitimacy signals. They have thoughtful information architecture. It's not a messy site. They have a clean top navigation. They have an organized footer. They have a clean, organized homepage and overall site, despite having tons of information on it. Wide margins, it's not cluttered. They have useful tickers and graphs. Just a really thorough, beautiful homepage, honestly. I initially applauded them for this, and I think it allowed them to get away with all the AI-generated content for a while, but in retrospect, I'm not so sure that it was the right move. They fully admitted out in the open that their content was AI. They wrote, "This is an AI author." Above the fold, before people start scrolling, they just see right away, this is an AI author. They have a big disclaimer at the bottom of their article saying that the articles are generated in whole or in part by artificial intelligence and may not have been reviewed or fact-checked by human editors. And I think if you were to actually do an AI-generated content play like this, it wouldn't be best to admit that. It would be best to scale up slowly and stay as under the radar as you can. Something else that they did well is they have really dynamic articles with useful information that is very quickly accessible. So even before you start scrolling, right when you land on one of the articles, they don't actually have an image at the top of the article. You might expect that for a news article, but they're not using images, which actually allows you to get to your information, the information that you want, a lot faster. They have featured images for previews, but on the actual article itself, there's no image at the top. They have breadcrumbs to help with navigation. They have an author, and then they have a truncated author bio. They have share options, a descriptive H1 title, the date published, read time. They have stock quotes. The stock quotes load on some articles, not all. Remember, these articles are dynamic depending on the subject matter. This is such a cool thing that I think more people will want to start doing. They have collapsible AI summaries in various useful formats, which you can click on. So right away, you see these summaries of the article, and the summaries are just generated by AI. They have a short AI podcast of the article. This loads on some articles, not on all. And then, like I said, these articles are dynamic. So throughout each article, you can click on their AI chatbot. They have an AI chatbot as a product, and you can click on this AI chatbot throughout their articles, and it's pre-prompted with interesting questions. And then when you click it, it loads on the side of their article. So it gets people using their AI, but it also helps people understand the articles, and it helps people understand the articles faster than just a traditional article without this. They also cite sources. They have external links to cite sources. That is very important for search engine optimization. They have graphs. They have videos from their AI-generated YouTube channel. They use multiple templates, which trigger depending on the content topic. They have AI-generated insights at the bottom of their articles. They have a comment section, an active comment section. And then on the sidebar, they have top news, related news, trending news. It's just so impressive, the templates that they have made and the levels of prompting that they have for all of these articles. So that's why they were able to get away with this for as long as they were. And if you want to do a play like this, I would recommend copying so much of what they did. All right, so that's how they did it. Should you try mass AI-generated content? Here's what to know. It is a risk. You shouldn't do it on a money site. You shouldn't do it on a website that is important to you. And you shouldn't do it on a Google Search Console that you share with other websites that are important to you. It should be in an isolated Google Search Console. And if you're going to do it, it shouldn't be on a site that you really care about. And when you do it, you should scale things up slowly. And like I said, you shouldn't admit that it's AI-generated content. Really try to make it seem legitimate and human. And again, scale up slowly. A rapid increase in content is such an easy sign of scaled content abuse. And nowadays, AI scaled content abuse. I've had so many other experts, SEO experts, on this show recently. Everyone said the same thing. They wouldn't recommend this for their clients. They wouldn't do this on their own money sites. I think right now, 2025, there is a premium put on a human touch. on something feeling authentic and human. And I also believe that premium is only going to increase. People are only going to crave that more and more. If you really want to give people what they want, you want to actually satisfy searchers, do your best to make something come off as human. But either way, there's so much to learn from this. And again, AInvest is still up. So as of now, it's still a win. They're still up over 3x, almost 4x. And you know what else? If you're doing any sort of top of funnel content, if you have a blog, if you're doing articles, you should copy as much of what they did as you can. Look at their pages, look at their articles, figure out how you can copy their user experience, figure out how you can copy their user interface. They have so many user-first ideas and elements within their articles and their site that you can steal and do that. I would recommend totally doing that. It'll make your content better. That's why I love this story so much. That's why I love talking about this company so much, because there's just so much to learn. There's so much that they did well that we can all implement ourselves. So that's what I wanted to share with you on this episode of the show. This is episode 803 of The Edward Show. I'm recording on a lovely European rooftop right now. Maybe you can see the buildings behind me if you are watching on YouTube. Such a nice day. Oh my gosh. This is so wonderful. I have this, my second Americano of the day. And if you want to learn how to do SEO that gets customers, that gets users, that gets warm leads, I'm getting just the craziest testimonials. This is from Alejandro, who just sent me this amazing compact keywords testimonial.
Before compact keywords, I wasted thousands on SEO courses, trainings, and reading blogs. I wasted a lot of time. So when I found Edward on Instagram, I asked him, is this the complete program that I need to rank a website, to rank a page? And I was like, I want everything on a program that helps me to go from A through Z and rank a page. And he was like, yeah, this is it. And I give you much more than that. So I took it. And now I have more than 20 pages ranking number 1, number 2 in one state for my SaaS company. So I definitely recommend it. If you want training that helps you to rank a website either locally, because I'm using for my recording studios locally, I'm using for the SaaS company. So this is the best training you're gonna find, and it's updated. And this is 2025. I'm doing this in the AI era of SEO. And as you can see, this is one of my main keywords. My page is right there, number 1. And if I go to some other ones, some other main cities, same thing. So you can see that it works. This is my website. So I recommend you to get this system. To me, compact keywords is not a course. It's your method, is your blueprint, is the system that you need to rank a website, to rank pages. So thank you, Edward, again, and all the best.
Thank you, Alejandro. And thank you, everybody, so much for watching and listening. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.